Quiet, please. Places, everyone. Cue talent. Fade up from black. Cue music. I'm Roman Holiday and I say lights, camera, action.
You can call it Tinsel Town or Hollywood. I call it my town. Lights, camera, action, and all that jazz. It's the place where everyone comes to make their dreams come true. I'm Chloe Kennard, legendary gossip columnist. I follow the biggest celebrities all around the studio looking for the latest hot story. And I've got a hunch that my next scoop is just around the corner. So come with me. Be a part of what really happens behind the scene in my town, Hollywood, at the Disney Studios. In showbiz, you'll learn to keep your eye out for the celebrities. With any luck, you'll spot the next big star.
And action. I said action.
Oh, what a magical place this, Hollywood. I can't believe I made it.
Cut.
Oh, was that all right, Mr. Holiday?
Oh, my darling, my dear, that was fabulous. You are such a star.
Do you think you'll see my name, Priscilla Bradich, in life?
Oh, I think we'll add just a tweak to it. But follow me down the street now, Priscilla Bradich, and I'll show you how it's done.
A good gossip columnist is always looking for her next big scoop. Oh, by the way, that's me, right there on Sunset Boulevard. Kind of a looker, huh? I know. You might even say a knockout. Even a femme fatale. Oh, I like that.
You happen to be Miss Chloe Kennard?
Who wants to know?
Chloe Kennard, Hollywood gossip columnist?
I prefer rumor monger, tattletale, nosy neighbor, but to each his own.
I've got some hot Hollywood buzz. That is, if you want to hear it.
Lay it on me, Mac. What's that you say? At the Disney Studios?
Roman Holiday is directing?
I'm on the story. Thanks for the hot tip, Mac. I'm gonna get to the top and work my way to the bottom.
Remember, you didn't hear it from me.
So, I'm hot on the trail of my latest story. I'll start right here at the crossroads of the world. You never know who you might see on the famous Hollywood Boulevard. There's Miss Bradich and Mr. Holiday over near Sid Cahuenga's one-of-a-kind shop. Oh, they sure look cozy. I love it. She'll have to pull off one fabulous performance to fill handprints like those. In Hollywood, everything's got to be grand. That's a hat fit for a mouse. A very famous mouse indeed. Oh, they've ducked into the great movie ride. Well, we're all in for a treat at one of the most famous theaters in the world.
You see, my dear, if you want to make it big in this town, you need to look to the legends. And there's no better place than the great movie ride.
It feels like I'm right in the movie.
Well, of course, darling, you are. But be very careful. It can be sinister. It can be very dark and foreboding.
Ooh, I love it.
Somebody's coming. Somebody's coming. Get down. I'm hit.
Oh, we made it. Jeepers creepers. That was exciting, Mr. Holiday.
Put those hands in the air, you varmints.
I don't know about this. I don't know about what. Oh no! Oh my goodness! Oh, we'll never make it. Oh my God!
I'll see you at the end of a rope.
Oh my goodness! Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, I remember. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Of course it is, darling. I was in it.
Oh look! I think I see a celebrity.
All the big stars take time out for their adoring fans, my dear.
Back on the gossip trail. I knew I'd catch up with them here. No one can resist a brush with fame. Oh, I've got his autograph. You'll find the biggest stars here at the Disney Studios. Oh, I know a little tidbit about her. She's famous, and her romance is infamous. Let's dish. Actually, it's quite the scandal. She's been seen around town with a very tall, dark, and furry. Oh, but that's another story. A very romantic story. Love is in the air here at the Disney Studios. What an enchanting story. Beauty and the Beast. Oh.
Hey, you talking to me? Say, sister, you know anything about that new Roman holiday film? I might know something.
Lay it on me, sister.
Well, listen, you heard talk about the big musical at Playhouse Disney live on stage, right?
Sure, anybody who's anybody's in there right now.
Exactly. Well, word has it that while the whole town is watching the show, Mr. Holiday was spotted with a certain young actress nearby in the animation studio.
You don't say.
That's what I heard.
Who's your source?
The maid to the store.
Isn't that you?
That's what I hear.
A good story can be found anywhere here at the Disney Studios, so I figure we should check out that lead.
My dear, I present the magic of Disney animation.
You mean Walt Disney himself?
Yes, well, Mr. Disney paved the way for the many talented animators of today.
So that's how they bring the characters to life.
Oh, yes, but just wait till you see what they do for our film.
You too can be one of these great animators in training. Look, they're drawing a very famous character indeed. Great job!
My, our famous couple is treating themselves to a good life already.
All right. In this scene, you're excited and exhilarated. On your way to your first big movie premiere on Rock and Roller Coaster. Now, reaction is very important. Follow my cue.
Oh my goodness! Oh my! Oh no! No, I don't know about this. I don't know about oh no! Oh my goodness! Oh, we'll never make it! Oh! Oh, I've really got to get a photograph of this for my front page story.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Am I on time?
Hello, little boy who I've never seen before. I'm just standing here minding my own business in front of the Disney Studios Backlot tour.
I got that photo you asked me to take of Mr. Holiday and the beautiful Miss Priscilla Brandage.
Okay, hand it over, little boy.
But first, I was wondering if you could use your powers here in Hollywood to get me a role in that new movie they're filming.
Yes! I'll see what I can do. You take this. Scram!
Do you think I can be bought?
Why, yes, I do.
Well, you're right. I'm gonna buy a pony.
Stop horsing around.
All right, darling. I'm going to walk you through your next scene here at the special effects tank at the studio's Backlot tour.
Oh my goodness. That looks like a lot of water. And I'm afraid of water.
Well, now, your agent told me that you could swim. Oh, well, now, that's not a problem, sweetie.
Oh!
A little water never hurt anyone.
Wow, the special effects tank is a real blast.
I've filmed on each and every one of these sets on the Studio Backlot tour. As a matter of fact, you might recognize some of these props from my biggest motion pictures. Well, darling, you're with a pro. Stick with me, and I'll show you all the rooms.
All of my films use sets from this very workshop. Look, my dear, it's the costuming department. That's where the fashionable wardrobe of the stars is created. And there's Walt Disney's very own Disney plane. Remember that thrilling film? You know, I did all my own stunts on that picture. Cue background music. Lights, camera, action. It's the New York street set, a very popular spot for film shoots. Look, there's a picture in production right now. Oh, it looks like we took a wrong turn back there into Catastrophe Canyon. Oh no, we're not supposed to rehearse this scene until tomorrow.
It's raining. Oh, it's raining.
Guys, let's rock. Let's rock, baby. Ah, look at that. The fire is on fire.
Oh dear, it looks like we're going to be in the middle of the scene. Hold on. We're all doomed. Somebody, cut! I said cut!
Oh, my goodness! I don't think that was in the script. I guess the great Roman Holiday has never directed that scene before. I wonder if that shot will make the final cut. Wow, these celebrities sure live exciting lives. So I tailed them all the way across the studio and caught up with them here. Maybe I could sneak in the theater and catch a glimpse of the action inside. Follow me.
Mr. Halliday, I see here that my character's in the next scene of the script, but I wasn't called into makeup today.
Well, today, darling, your stunt double's going to be filming your action scenes here at the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Let's take a peek.
Oh no! Run, Indy! Run! Oh, that thing's gonna be crushed by that big boulder!
Oh no!
Oh my God! Oh my God! I thought he was with me.
I was convinced.
Star Tours. Now this looks like an adventurous scene. I wonder if our little actress can pull it off.
This is your big action scene, Miss Bradich. Now focus. Your Star Speeder 3000 is headed into an intergalactic dogfight here in Star Tours. Ooh, and watch out for asteroids.
Wow, I didn't know Miss Bradich could do action scenes. She must have quite a range. I guess Miss Bradich and Mr. Holliday thought they'd lose me in the bustle of New York Street, but I heard they were spotted kidding around on the job nearby. Don't celebrities know that we paparazzi are everywhere? Just the price of fame and fortune, or so I hear.
Diddy Debbie, when I asked you to follow those two, I could have swore you to...
Have you ever seen such appalling behavior? I bet the movie studios would love to hear about this.
Goodness gracious! I can't believe my stinking eyes! And right here in the Honey I Shrunk Kids movie set advent! That is so childish.
Ah, the extravagant Hollywood Tower Hotel. It is the place to stay for Tinseltown's VIPs. but I hear it's got a very mysterious past.
At last, Miss Breadage, it's our final day of production. Now, the crew has been shooting all day to get the B-roll for this location. We seem to be missing all of our extras from the shoot. Now, how can that be? Well, before we call it a wrap, you've got to film your last scene. Come on, my dear. Everyone's waiting on the set. Oh my!
It's a wrap, and the film's complete. But the life of a celebrity never ends. When the lights go down in this town, the biggest stars come out to play. And nothing attracts celebrities like a grand movie premiere.
Are you here for the big movie premiere, Chloe?
It's the talk of the town.
Well, what do you think?
I gotta hand it to them, Gracie. They really pulled it off. What a blockbuster. 2 thumbs up. Wait till you see the write-up I'm gonna give.
Oh, you know that part should have been mine. Hey, you think I got a shot at the sequel?
You have something in your teeth.
Oh, no.
Live it up, darling. You've earned it. It doesn't get much better than this.
Oh, it's a whirlwind, Mr. Halliday.
Oh, but it's only the beginning. Just think of the films, the offers, the handsome, attractive co-stars.
Oh, I can hardly believe it.
Well, believe it, but just don't forget who made you a star.
Oh, and don't forget to pose for all these cameras, Mr. Halliday. Oh, which is my best side, Mr. Halliday?
Well, darling, you're talking to someone who has 2 best sides. But let's just enjoy the finale. It's fantastic.
Leave it to Hollywood to really light up the town. With Mickey and the famous Disney characters, Fantasmic is the show of all shows. just another day in my town, Hollywood. And as the lights twinkle in the sky, no one shines like the newest stars here at the Disney Studios. A Hollywood that never was and always will be. See you soon, darlings. Oh, have your people call my people. We'll do lunch.
Cut, it's a wrap. Fade to black. That's showbiz.
going to draw Mickey Mouse, and we're going to use basic shapes to help us out with this. We're going to start with a circle. And if I go around enough times, I have a decent sized circle here and a nice circle shape. And we're basically using our shoulder and our elbow as a hinge. Try to keep my hand very still. And once I get this shape down, this is a foundation for the drawing. I'm going to place in some construction lines. And these lines basically help us map out the character's eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. Now what I like to do personally is go ahead and work out the proportions for the character, which his face is more like a quarter, shape of the size of a quarter, just think of that proportion wise, and then 2 dimes. But then what I like to do sometimes is draw ovals, but still keep the proportions once again like a quarter and 2 dimes. Now my next step is to go to the center. I'm going to draw like an olive or a grape lying on its side. Just think of a circle. I'm going to pull it from the left and right and create an oval. And there's a line that's going to follow that curve of the oval right there. Alright, and let's think of the dimples, like in the smile. Kind of like when we're smiling, we have dimples right there. A nice happy face, smiley face. And we're going to open up his mouth. Just break that circle just a little bit. Right there. And then I'm going to go on the inside of his mouth. And think of this as a letter M. His initials are actually in his design. This is our first M. That's good. And we're going to draw another line. It's more like a curved line following inside of his mouth. Give us the thickness of his lower lip or his chin. I'm going to draw a nice curved line that's going to follow the circle all the way down to his mouth. That easily right there. There we go. And this character isn't that hard to do because whatever I do on the left side, I'm going to do on the right, and vice versa. Now the next step is to put his other M in. So we have Mickey Mouse. These are little steps we use to help ourselves out, because when you're usually working in production or you're working on a character like this one, Mickey Mouse, you can have usually 30 or 40 people trying to get the character just right. So these references help all of us keep the character to model. I'm just going to go back and darken in some lines of the drawing. And of course his eyes, I'm going to save them for last. And once again we're going to think of the circle and pull the circle from the top and the bottom, stretch it out to make a nice oval, just sitting right there on the inside of that line. And you'll notice I left some space in between his eyes. So imagine there's an eye sitting there. That'll give us the perfect space for his eyes there. And the same thing, we're going to make some ovals. And right now we have a lot of lines, but if we go back and darken in the pupils, bring some life into the character. All I'm going to do is go back and darken in his nose. Put a little oval in there. Sometimes people put in rectangles, just a bent rectangle in there. And I'm going to darken inside of his mouth, his mask, and his ears. And now you can draw Mickey Mouse. You can give it a try. All you have to do is use your basic shapes, and you'll have a nice Mickey Mouse.
So far in our story of fairs, we've seen only still pictures, because at that time, motion pictures hadn't been perfected. So the photographs we've shown you were made with old still cameras like these, the What's the Birdie type. But in 1888, Eastman introduced his Brownie camera, and photography became a national pastime. Now this Kodak camera, the great granddaddy of today's even tinier Instamatic, used a roll-type film that made possible the motion picture camera. Now at first, the movie camera was considered more of a plaything, but photographic history was made with antique cameras like this old-timer. Now I guess that makes me an old-timer myself, because I broke into the film business behind a camera of about this vintage. In the old days, we had to operate cameras by hand. Now you crank too fast, and you get slow motion. Now you crank too slow, and the films would be speeded up. Actually, the early pioneers of cinematography were not great artists by today's standards. But the films they shot were sensational in their day because they moved. Photography had come to life. So, let's crank up this old projector and see some of the fun and excitement of early fairs in those quaint old motion pictures. Here we go. But I wanted to experiment making the theatrical cartoons, so I started experimenting at night, and I worked on a little idea that I had that I wanted to sell to the Newman Theater, a chain of about 3 theaters. So I called the things Newman Laughograms. Well, I was desperately trying to get something that would get a hold, could catch on. So I was thinking if I had something with a novel twist, I might crack the market. I found a little girl that had been posing for some of the commercial things. But I still couldn't get anywhere with it, and the company began to collapse. There was no money coming in, so there was nothing left but to go into bankruptcy. I'd failed. But I learned a lot out of that, and I think it's important to have a good, hard failure when you're young, you know? It was a big day, the day I got on that California Limited and came to Hollywood. Now, my brother Roy was already in Los Angeles. Both of us were unemployed. We solved the problem by going into business for ourselves. We established the first animated cartoon studio in Hollywood. Mickey Mouse came into our life. He popped out of my mind onto a drawing pad on a train ride from Manhattan to Hollywood at a time when the business fortunes of my brother Roy and myself were at lowest ebb and disaster seemed right around the corner. Mickey's first actual screen appearance was at the Old Colony Theater in New York in Steamboat Willie. I did the voice. Mickey was the first cartoon character to stress personality. I thought of him from the first as a distinct individual, not just a cartoon type or symbol going through comedy routine. Mickey was simply a little personality assigned to the purposes of laughter. By nature, I'm an experimenter, so with the success of Mickey, I was determined to diversify. I had another idea which was plaguing my brain. I had a picture in work called Flowers and Trees. I had finished about half of it in black and white. But I just felt that this color would do so much for the cartoon medium that it was worth doing the picture over. Flowers and trees opened. And fortunately for me, it did hit Flowers and Trees when I won an Academy Award, the first cartoon to ever win an Academy Award. I just felt I just had to diversify my business. Now, if I could crack the feature field, I could do things. I had done a little story research on different fairy tales I might do, and Snow White was one of them. It's the thing I remembered as a kid. I had the heavy, I had the prince and the girl, the romance. I had the sympathetic dwarfs and things. I wanted to, no doubt about the personality, so I sort of picked a name to fit the personality. We started Snow White sometime late 35, and we had it running in the theaters December 37. So actually it was around 2 years in the making. With the profits of Snow White, I built a studio. The studio ended up costing us around $3 million. By 1940-something, we owed the bank $4.5 million. But I had all these pictures in work. Pinocchio, Bambi, Fantasia. I had Fantasia set for a widescreen. I had dimensional sound. To get that widescreen, I had the projector running sideways. But I didn't get to building my cameras or my projectors because the money problem came in. I think if I'd have had the money, if I could have gone ahead, I'd have had a really sensational show at that time. During the war, we did briefing films for the Marine Corps on the landings on the island, and they were all very top secret. We did a heck of a lot of islands I've never heard of. I think we did over 4,000 insignias. I wanted to see if I couldn't do something in an educational way. So I sent this crew to Alaska. And I got a group of educators together. We discussed what we might do. And out of it, I came up with this. It can be educational, but don't label it as such. So I took the film that I'd shot about the seals on this island, and made it into an entertainment package. I coined this title, True to Life Adventure. And I wanted enough different types of things that I could do with my organization that I could fall on my nose with one of these pictures, but I had another one right behind it that would hit. So then I started out, and the first one I think I did there was Cinderella. The next one on the schedule was Alice, but I had another one coming right behind it. I had Peter Pan. Cinderella hit, made a lot of money. Alice, one of them came out and just made a nosedive, you see. Cinderella, you pulled for Cinderella. You felt for Cinderella. Alice, there are millions of people didn't care about Alice. There's no heart to it. Without that heart, you see, I don't think anything will laugh. In other words, with every laugh, there must be a tear somewhere, and I believe in that. After a long concentration on live action and cartoon films, we decided to try something that would employ about every trick we had learned in the making of films. We would combine cartoon, live action, in an enormous fantasy, Mary Poppins. You know, I was stumped one day when a little boy asked, "Do you draw Mickey Mouse?" And I had to admit I do not draw anymore. Well, then you think up all the jokes and ideas. No, I said, I don't do that. Finally, he looked at me and said, "Mr. Disney, just what do you do?" Well, I said, sometimes I think of myself as a little bee. I go from one area of the studio to another and gather pollen and sort of stimulate everybody. I guess that's the job I do. Well, after 40 some odd years in the business, my greatest reward, I think, is that I've been able to build this wonderful organization. Also to have the public appreciate and accept what I've done all these years. That is a great reward. But all individuals are different. Some of us just wouldn't be satisfied with just carrying out a routine job and being happy. Yet I envy those people. I had a brother who I really envied because he was a mailman. But he was the one that had all the fun. He had himself a trailer, and he used to go off and go fishing, and he didn't worry about payrolls and stories and picture grosses or anything. And he was the happy one. I always said he's the smart Disney.
Lights, Motors, Action, Extreme Stunt Show is really focusing on vehicle stunts. So we're talking cars, motorcycles, and jet skis. And not only showing them to the guests, but showing how these are incorporated into Hollywood movies and the tricks of the trade. With the help of many extremely talented Imagineers, craftsmen, artists, technical people, special effects. And basically, we've transformed the backlot here at Disney MGM, and it really, we want the audience to feel like a fly on the wall at a film shoot, not like they're at a theme park presentational type of show, but that they are like these special guests on the set for this shoot. So then the show begins with our first big stunt sequence, which we call the ballet because it really involves precision driving. They're talking about 5-6 cars, door handle to door handle, sometimes nose to nose. Now, to begin with, what we call our pursuit cars are what on the surface look like Opel Corsas, which are European cars, which help us tell the story that we're in a French village. But that's where the looks can be deceiving. When you get closer, you'll find that these cars are totally tricked out to do the stunts that we have to do here. I mean, there's a lot of jumping that is involved, so there's a big cage inside for, like a stock car type of cage in these things. There is a 1300cc 4-stroke motorcycle engine that's in the car, and in fact, it's not in the front or the back, but it's actually positioned right behind the driver in the center of the car to give them better maneuverability for the tight turns they take. Their handbrakes, which, in our cars, when you pull up the handbrake, it stops, it sticks in position. Theirs are completely, they let go and the handbrake lets go. It helps them do those 360s and those 540 turns that they're doing out there. You look inside and it looks like a 747 control panel with the buttons that operate the different effects that we have going on. So the drivers have, there's a lot of stuff going on in this car. Our hero car, which is the red car in our show, was built from the ground up, designed by Imagineers, specifically for this show. It's the only place you're going to see this car is in this show. And it is tricked out to do some amazing stunts. It's loaded with pyrotechnics. It's built in such a way that it can do jumps, show after show. It's built, it's got reinforcement, it's got a roll cage, it's got, just many unique features you're not going to find on a typical family sedan. You're going to see some amazing stunts on the show. You're going to see cars jumping, multiple cars jumping. You're going to see cars going on 2 wheels. You're going to see jet skis jumping out of the water. You'll see motorcycles jumping ramps, motorcycles on stage with cars coming very close to each other. And it's all real. It's all happening live on the stage as you're watching it. It's not something that's canned. It's not something that's on tracks. It's precision drivers, trained precision drivers, executing these on a daily basis. It's really. I mean, I watch it again and again, and I'm amazed at what I see. It's fascinating.